She might as well be a pesky bug or some other insignificant creature. I don't like to issue predictions, but Marco might just have a use for you. Strange partnership it would be, but who's to say it wouldn't work? We've got a date with some fancy legionary near Cottonwood Cove. See you there.
Yeah, what do you want?
This nice little cavern is the temporary home of one Marcus Scribonius Libodrusus, an important man given his responsibility, slaves. Unbeknownst to his comrades, Drusus has been engaged with unsavory elements that happen to be in the employ of Marco. Lining your pockets is a capital offense in Kaiser's Legion, along with everything else. But corruption makes it more capital? Recently, Drusus has had second thoughts about his past exchanges. So it's high time he's reminded of his obligations.
Who dares intrude in my quarters? Name yourselves.
Not a polite reception, I must say. Is the hammer necessary? I think you're making my friend nervous.
By Mars, if you don't identify yourself, I'll bludgeon you and that other renegade into a bloody pulp.
I go by Virgil, but that's not really germane to the discussion. See, Drusus, I answer to a certain Marco. You might have heard of him.
You listen, profligate. I am done dealing with Marco or his lackeys. I do not answer to lawless scum.
Scum. That's harsh, Drusus. Harsh. You might not deign to speak with us now, but I seem to recall you happy to accept our captives a few months ago.
I can't. The speculators are investigating. If they know I dealt with you, I'll be scourged and crucified like a low criminal.
But you are a criminal. You should have embraced it. Believe me, life is so much simpler.
I will never yield. I am mighty.
Requiescat in pace, Drusus. He couldn't accept the change rendered by his choices. Now, where have I heard that before? If you're poised to lose some witty retort or just good old-fashioned vitriol, save it for just a touch longer. My business here is settled, so I must depart for Frosto. If you wish to join me, go to the Northern Passage and we'll make final preparations. Oh, and please leave any accompanying rabble here in the Mojave. Marco instructed me to bring you and no one else. See you there. Yes? I suppose in a strange way he's not much different from you, Courier. He was forged in violence, reborn a survivor. He's not exceptional in any physical sense, nor is he the most intelligent man I've met. I suppose it's his will that sets him apart. There have been times when most men would have succumbed to defeat or even death, yet Marco won in the end. He told me about the time he was captured by raiders back east. They ate Marco's comrades and forced him into servitude. He went along with it, ingratiating himself with the leader and even proving himself as a capable cook. The raiders grew to trust him. He was eventually offered the chance to join their ranks, on the condition that he prove his ability to kill without hesitation. While he had certainly killed before, this was different. He was ordered to slaughter the family of a random farmer, a fellow by the name of Randall. Given your history with Randall, I have no doubt he's told you what transpired. Marco killed them all in front of Randall in gruesome fashion. The slavers' leader was so impressed that he made Marco his right-hand man. Marco soon exceeded all expectations as a raider. It seemed as if Marco had assimilated into this new lifestyle with no regrets or grudges, for a time. Then they ran into a rival group of raiders. On the eve of their battle, Marco sedated the leader and carried him to the rival encampment. With a rapt, surprised audience in full view, Marco blinded, castrated, and paralyzed his leader, then announced his intentions. He declared himself leader of the rival tribe and would face anyone who thought himself more worthy. None challenged him. With his intimate familiarity with his original clan's tactics, Marco led his men to an easy victory. The fate of the captured raiders was grim. Most were blinded, emasculated, and crippled, much like the leader. Additionally, they were disemboweled. For days, Marco allowed his dogs to feed on the entrails of the dying men, taking care to ensure their survival long enough to extend the agony. They all died eventually, except the leader. He had a much worse fate. They say Marco carted him about for years, caged like an animal. He was a living reminder that crossing Marco could bring a fate far worse than death. No one ever questioned him. Do you find that remarkable? Most people have rather strong assumptions about vault dwellers. We're all naive, agoraphobic shut-ins, right? Some of them never adapt to the outside, but me, I never liked being trapped. As a boy, I constantly dreamed of life beyond the vault. I escaped through literature and comic books. Never cared for school itself. My father punished me, even destroyed my books. I didn't care. I could paint grand vistas in my mind, climbing to the highest peaks while taking in real sunlight, breathing unfiltered air. My father hated his lot in the vault, working maintenance. He hated even more that I was content to spend my time withdrawn from his world. He drank a lot, beat me and my brother when things boiled over. Overseer was a real traditional type, didn't want to interfere, so nothing changed. Dad had plans for me. Maintenance and repair in the vault, an auspicious occupation. I probably would have killed myself if I'd stayed in that vault. When I was 13, the water chip gave out, so we had to make contact with the outside. I wanted to leave with the scouting expedition. Dad said no. I planned on sneaking out with my kid brother. Couldn't leave him with Dad. I got caught, and the old man pummeled me unconscious. I ended up in the infirmary. Dad wound up in his cell. Didn't last, though. Overseer released him the next day. He had critical skills. You see, I found that life is a series of epiphanies. Some are minute, others hit you like a freight train. I had a big one in the infirmary. I realized that the rules would always work against me in my dreams. Somebody with money or power pulls the strings, snuffs them out. It was that realization that finally pushed me over the edge, or made my balls drop. One night I picked up Dad's bat and bashed his kneecaps. He cried like a little girl, apologized and confessed till he was hoarse. My stepmom stayed out of it. She was a timid soul. I told them that me and my brother were leaving, and that they shouldn't bother trying to find us. Dad just sobbed and nodded. There was a skeleton crew guarding the entrance, so we slipped out before they found Dad. Don't know what became of him. Knowing what I know now, I only wish they'd finished that bastard off. He was a waste of life. We left at night, but it was still disconcerting at first, seeing the sky above you, like an ocean bearing down on you. You feel so small. We adjusted soon enough, just kept walking east. It was so stupid in hindsight. A couple of kids with a baseball bat, nothing more. You see, back east there aren't all these nations like you have here. It's just towns and tribes with no real order. We had no idea. I wish I could tell you we found a town and everything worked out. Not the case. We were picked up by slavers led by a man named Dickie. Dickie ran a roaming band who would lease out slaves to towns or raiding crews. To his credit, he was a sharp trader. I thought I had taken some harsh beatings, but the slavers made Dad seem like some grandma with an old switch. They were merciless. It only bothered me when they hit my brother, though. He was no more than 8 at the time, so they planned on making him a sex slave. I despised Dickie not because of his cruelty, but because he was always smiling, whistling, making cracks. Dad may have been an abusive cretin, but at least he imparted some mechanical know-how. That's how I got the slave collars off. We ran until our blood burned and our bare feet bled, then ran some more. Dickie was tracking us with dogs. It was closed when I spotted the town. In that moment I knew we wouldn't make it. Dickie and his crew were too fast, so I sent my brother off towards the town while I backtracked. He made it. I didn't. If I had known what awaited me, the sheer hell of it, I might have killed myself before they took me. What didn't Dickie do? 5 years. 5 years of hell. That's what I got for leaving the vault and saving my brother. It was work, beatings, work, and then more beatings. All the while there was Dickie's laughter. All the while I thought of my brother. I was near a man when Dickie got the idea of matching me up in the cage. That was a big draw, fighting slaves to the death. I knew it was my chance. I was strong enough from all the work, but I didn't know anything about real fighting. Dickie wanted to use me as bait for his stud fighter, Jay. Guy had at least 30 pounds in me, had won a dozen matches. I saw him as an obstacle to my freedom, something between me and my brother. It was one of the many lessons in the power of resolve. That man should have killed me, but I wanted it more, plain and simple. He broke one arm and half my ribs, but I ended it when I gouged his eyes and then drove my heel through his skull like it was a piece of old fruit. Dickie wasn't laughing then. I was hurt, but seeing his face was worth every break and bruise that I'd suffered. It was the first time I killed. I'm not sure what Dickie had planned for me because another man bought me on the spot. Guy named Thompson. He was all right. Thompson made me an offer. Win enough matches and I'll set you free. Win a lot of matches and you can join the crew. So I did. So I fought and I won. Every type of man, big, small, slow, fast. I found a way to kill them. It always boiled down to willpower, nothing else. Thompson was an old fellow, gruff but fair. He pushed me hard, but it paid off. He never beat me, not that I gave him reason. I respected him. He recognized the fire burning in me, knew how to harness it without smothering me. Wasn't long before I was working alongside him. After Thompson died, I was in charge. Wasn't long after that I met Marco, and the rest is history. Marco always said, man is the measure of all things. In this world you make your own law for yourself and those closest to you. Talking about right and wrong is delusional and self-indulgent. If you had traveled and seen what I have, you'd appreciate the truth in this. Seen towns where they ate people but wouldn't let the women out in public for fear of immorality. Other places they killed kids for stealing food. Deep down everybody has an idea about what's right. Sleeping with another man's wife? It's okay, she's unhappy. How about robbery? Oh, they're rich. Marco taught me to look within, trust my own instincts, and most importantly, to do what it takes to stay alive. He always looked after his people. So to answer your question, I don't feel guilty. There ain't no heaven or hell, just this rock. And I'll get mine while I'm here. I want to know what a feet-sniveling worm coined the term bad guy. Probably some spineless wretch who relied on stronger men for his safety. You know what bad means to me? It means you're strong, you endure when others listen to that pussified voice inside, lay down and die. I don't know about your world with all its nations and laws, but in my world, good is raw flesh that's stripped and eaten by the hungry. What would you do without a few bad men around? No job for starters. You're only as good as the man across from you. It's what builds you. You've smoked a few lowlifes and now you're supposed to be special? You're just another meatbag with an expiration date. The hubris of it, to call me bad. There will come a time when you'll wish you had more bad in you, because good lets you down in the end. Why wouldn't it be about Sergio? Even bad men love their brothers. You might say their mutual interests made them closer. You're not completely off base, though. Before Sergio was killed, Marco had already heard some of the stories coming out of the Mojave. People talked about some courier who was all but unstoppable. A veritable force of nature by all accounts. That didn't sit well with Marco. I guess on some level he wants to prove that you're no better than the rest of us mere mortals. Or at least not better than him. You've been riding high since you ducked the Reaper. Maybe too high. If you aren't careful, you'll get a nasty lesson in mortality soon enough. Yes? Only 250 miles to go. Let's get started. Well, we made it. Don't you love that clean mountain air? Breathe it in, savor it. Do you have anything you want me to relay to Marco? More than you know, perhaps. No doubt he shares your enthusiasm for spirited discourse. Goodbye, courier.
Damned if they don't try to bushwhack everybody that comes in this god-forsaken canyon. You okay, stranger? Well, hellfire if it isn't my old protege. Come up all the way from the Mojave Wasteland. How the hell are you? Took your sweet-ass time getting here, if I may say so. Didn't you get the letter? Damn, I paid that courier extra, and he still couldn't get it done. Goddamn messengers are useless. As you can see, I ain't dead. Well, not entirely. I'm more or less a walking corpse, thanks to that cocksucker Sugar. Goddamn son of a bitch. Yeah, I reckon so. We got a lot of catching up to do, but we best do it back at my shack. It ain't safe out here in the open. Here's a spot on your map. It ain't much, but there's shelter and some warm beds. Stop by and I'll catch up on everything.
Prim is a new sheriff. That should keep the powder gangers away.
How you doing? I only have one question. Are you willing to kill people for money? I'm just joshing you, partner. Had to ask, for old time's sake. Lord knows you've killed enough for the both of us, and then some. I heard about you taking down Judge Richter, Red Bear, and Sergio. Damn fine work by all accounts. I know you might have a lot of different reasons for coming here, but I want you to know I appreciate it. My goal is to find Marco and kill the son of a bitch, plain and simple. We even got the NCR bankrolling us this time, thanks to Mr. Brookshire. Truth is that we're in a tight spot here. When Marco came to Frost Hill, he brought a passel of outlaws with him, all of them a rough bunch. I'm talking about the hardest, meanest vermin west of the Mississippi, gathered over years of raiding. We ain't taking no prisoners up here. It's gonna be sorta like what we did back in Vegas, except this time, we finish it. Together. It's gonna be tough, partner, and downright bloody. You let me know when you're ready to start. I'd tell you not to distract me with questions, but I reckon that would be downright rude, considering everything that's transpired. If you're curious, ask away. So long as you don't keep me away from my typing for too long, I reckon somebody has to keep this outfit organized. Ask away. Oh, how did I become a zombie? Yeah, I can say that shit with impunity now. Zombie, 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 motherfucker. Anyway, Sugar had busted me up, then buried me up to my neck in dirt, not far from some old wayside. Made me sick as fuck. There I am, wasting away, sun burning my head, thinking it can't get worse. Wrong. Fucking giant ants showed up, about to chomp my dome off. Right when I'm about to become a snack for the bugs, a pack of wild dogs comes running in, chew up the ants, then run them off. I'm thinking, hallelujah for man's best friend. Wrong again. Big alpha dog came up and commenced to humping my face. Did it all night. So that mangy fucker is making love to my ear when finally I hear gunshots, despite my impairment. Thought I'd finally caught a break. Dogs run off, but it was the jackals that found me. Cocksuckers had a real laugh at me, half ghoulified and covered in dog jizz. Well, jackals shackled me and hauled me around, made me their zombie slave. They just assumed I was some random hobo in the wastes. I ended up taking a page out of old Marshall Cooper's playbook. Late one night, I used a fork to kill their leader, then grabbed a gun. Jackals are all pussies, of course, so they ran off. I did manage to kill 2 of them, though. After that, I got my bearings and headed north. Jackals hauled me up north to begin with, and I wasn't sure what was going on back in Vegas. For all I knew, the judge was still around. I ain't proud of everything I've done, but it worked out. I was on the road when somebody told me Marco was up in Utah. Hearing that gave me real purpose again, something to work towards. I got on as a caravan guard and got up here not long after that. I started to figure it was nothing. I'd heard stories of Marco dying for years until I saw him. He was outside town, had a gang with him. Deep down, I knew he'd be too fast or one of his boys would plug me first. I'd have to wait, but at least I knew where he was. I went back with a caravan, used my paycheck to get geared up, and that's when Brookshire found me. He told me that NCR had a stake in Frost Hill, wanted to fund a bounty hunting expedition. All they needed was some leadership. By that time, word had gotten around about your doings in the Mojave, so Brookshire figured I'd be a good fit to corral his gang of misfits. I mean, it's going to work, but sometimes I have my doubts about all this, the way things turned out. I regret starting you down this path. I got to tell you, I'm downright giddy about this. It's just like the old days. You excited too? Ready to get out and kill some bad guys? Good. Now squash that bullshit right now. You better harden the fuck up when you go after this bunch, because they're killers, every one of them. The first is Garza, a Mexican sharpshooter who served as Marco's scout for years. He's a first-rate marksman by all accounts. Word is that he's in Buxton Mine, where he's holed up with a trio of hussies, the Amantes or whatever. I can't speak that shit. It's a crazy man with 3 bloodthirsty bitches. Enough said. Any questions? Garza is reportedly something of a ladies' man, so much so that he always has a stable of sluts on hand, no matter the circumstances. Crazy bitches feed him, bring him supplies, even fight for him, screaming like banshees on the rag. Goddamn terrifying if you ask me. Then again, maybe Garza is smarter than all of us. At any rate, keep your eyes open for him and his manatees. Good, just keep your head down and do what you do best. I'll see you when you get back. Oh, almost forgot. If you're gonna be running around out in that freezing ass cold, might as well dress for it. Here's something I had stowed away. What is it, partner? I got into this business because of revenge. You know what revenge is? It's a special kind of hatred that burns in your soul. It can motivate you, it can keep you alive, and it can poison you. When I gave you that pistol, I put that weight on you, and that ain't right. To know that I put you in a place, in a lifestyle that will have you looking over your shoulder your whole life, it hurts. Let's just get through all this before we start congratulating each other and talking about privileges. Jesus. Ask away. Plenty will steer clear, to be certain. There are always others out for your blood. Some want to land themselves in your legend by killing you. Seen it happen. There'll come a time when you don't pay attention, get careless, or just get unlucky, and somebody will make their move. See, you're carrying a brand. You're a killer. That's how people will always see you, for good or bad. And the ones you killed, they'll haunt you. Somebody once told me, blood will have blood. You can't stop it. All you can do is survive it. Ask away. That's a complicated matter, my friend. See, the NCR has a bounty out on just about everybody in this here canyon. Thing is, most of them are just outcasts and poor folk, not really bad, except for Marco and his crew. A lot of them came up here to get away from one type of government or another, be it NCR, Legion, or whatever. Damnable thing is that most of them are loyal to Marco right now, mainly because they see us as part of the NCR. I'm hoping that if we can whittle away some of Marco's muscle, people will start to have a change of heart. I ain't no NCR stooge. Somebody wants to pay me for bounties? Fine. You want me to conquer your territory for you? That dog won't hunt. If we can clean out the worst of them, then maybe the NCR will see this place as legitimate. Might even grant amnesty, or so they say. We got a lot of graves to fill before that's on the table, though. We'll see. What's on your... Been a long time since I've seen home. My real home. Hot and humid doesn't sound so bad when you're freezing your nuts off. Hell of a long trip back to Mississippi, but I reckon that's where I'll go. I've missed it, even with all the hurt that comes with thinking of it. Fact is that I'm tired. Tired of fighting. Tired of knowing that I'm alive and my family is dead. I wish I'd died with them, truly. If I can make it back there, I know what I'm gonna do. Yeah, I forget sometimes. You get in the habit of detaching yourself from other people in this business so you don't feel too much. I'm just talking out of my ass anyway. Man like Marco comes around, word travels fast. I believe he made some feeble attempt to conceal his identity at first. Rumors that he even used a different name for a spell, tried to settle down. I can't imagine a man like him living any sort of normal life. Story is that he had a run-in with some local toughs, killed 5 of them outside the saloon. Wasn't long before people figured out who he was, what with him shooting like the devil and a band of outlaws in tow. I haven't even gotten a look at him, but he's here. I know it. He stays up in those mines most of the time, leaves the dirty work to his peons. When I got set up here with the other hunters, things turned ugly right away. We lost some, but we gave as good as we got. Marco ain't stupid, of course. He'll keep biding his time until he feels strong, or until his back is up against the wall. Mark my words, though, when he does show, it's going to get biblical. Fire, brimstone, and all that good shit. Ford's a youngster with a big mouth and a chip on his shoulder. I've seen plenty like him over the years. He ain't bad or nothing, but he is just about useless. Maybe you can teach him a thing or two and he won't be such a pain in the ass. He's some sort of NCR agent, man. You can never tell with those weasels. They got nice suits, silver tongues, and deep pockets. As long as they keep paying for bounties, and I get to run things my way, I got no complaints. Don't play coy. You killed a string of badasses, one right after the next, like something out of a goddamn dime novel. Somebody off Sergio in his own damn town, people are gonna talk about that shit for decades. Every damn trader I met was blabbing about it. There were others I heard about, like Red Bear. Some said you killed him, others claimed you took him alive. I hope you cut his goddamn throat. You must be managing the fame pretty well. I've no doubt you've dealt with your share of bushwhackers trying to get payback. I wish I could tell you that it would stop, but it won't. All that counts is that you're alive and that you're here. What's on your... When the NCR jiggled its coin purse, they came to me like flies to shit. Most are passable fighters, but I ain't too sure about their character. Truth is, that's the norm in this business. It takes a hard heart to kill someone for a greasy wad of dough. Some of these hunters don't care if the mark is good, bad, or somewhere in between. It's strictly business all the time, and that's what worries me. Maybe I'm just getting more picky after I worked with you. Ain't none of them cut from the same cloth. All this goddamn philosophizing is downright distracting. We'll just have to suck it up and make do with what we got, and that's the end of it. Out of all them bounties I gave you, was there ever one that involved capturing some bastard and bringing him back? The answer's no. Assuming you could bring one back in one piece, all that would happen is Mr. Brookshire would make a summary judgment. We'd just end up hanging him, and the pay would be the same. Better to just kill him on sight. No fuss, no nonsense. Posters. Only use for those things is to wipe your ass, not a damn thing else. I give you a name, you kill the motherfucker. That's how this business is supposed to operate. It keeps things organized and neat. Most of the time posters are spread all over creation, and it's a pain in the ass to even find work. Goddamn ridiculous. You show me the man who invented wanted posters, and I'll gladly stomp his nuts. Ford put that mess up. I don't even know what the fuck it's about. Babies, demons, some kind of fucked up love story written by perverts. Honestly, what kind of demented minds come up with this shit? Whatever happened to thoughtful, quality entertainment? Everything nowadays is just swearing and violence. No depth at all. It's a sign of intellectual regression and moral decline. Look at me getting distracted by this filth. When you're ready, I've got more of these fucking assholes for you to kill. What's up? Oh, Cooper? Found him when we cleared out a raider den just outside the canyon. They'd been using him as bait for their fighting dogs. He was pretty tore up when we found him, but he bounced back real quick. Ain't the biggest or the fastest, but he's tough as an old boot. Feel free to take him with you the next time you go after a bounty. I'm sure he'd be a help to you. See you later.
Some cons got cornered in the ruins of Boulder City, but the NCR let them go. That's unusual.
What you got? We're off to a good start then. I've still got a long list of names, so let me... What you got? Good. The target is Kicking Dog, a humongous savage who broke away from the Whitelegs a while back and formed his own gang. Seeing as to how he only had a few men with him, Dog eventually joined up with Marco, who was more than happy to put his skills to use. Kicking Dog got his name from the way he kicks men to death, all while he snarls and drools like a mad dog. You can find him and a few compadres over in WOLFHEAD Cavern, not far from here. Yeah, he likes to knock people down and then pound the shit out of them. He's big, fast, and mean, so it works most of the time. My advice is to keep your distance, cripple him, then take your time planting shots in his dome. Size and strength don't mean shit if you put a bullet in his brain. Alright, just be careful, and I'll see you when you get back. What you got? I suppose he kicked his last then. Serves that savage right. Here's your reward. Come on back when you're ready for the next one. What is it, partner? This time you're going after Squirrely Bill Blasius, big mouth cowboy who heads a gang of rowdies called the Vaqueros. In addition to being a full-time bandit, he claims to have the most magnificent mustache in the territory. In my experience, only civil servants and pedophiles wear mustaches with pride. He's definitely not the former, so that narrows it down. Old Bill recently set himself up at the town saloon, and he's now in the midst of a gambling bender. He also brought a few ruffians with him. A bounty is a bounty, but this one ain't so simple. We already have a touchy relationship with the town, so I don't want to make things worse. You can't just slip in and chop his head off or snipe him. It needs to at least look like self-defense, otherwise the townsfolk get all pissy. I've no doubt you can find some way to offend the fella. Once he draws on you, it's fair game. If you can pull it off, I'll throw in a bonus. Word has it that he's particularly touchy about the mustache, so there's a start. If it were me, I'd bash his testicles with the butt of my pistol, but that's probably a bit overt. Oh, I almost forgot. He is supposed to be sweet on that yellow-haired whore, Lori. He likes to keep a monopoly on her when he's in town. I imagine it would be disconcerting if you were to partake of the young lady, particularly in earshot of Mr. Blasius. Any other questions? He's better than most, but he's mainly just crazy. Unpredictable is probably a better description. That's how he got his name. He's hard to read. He's like a lot of these hotshot banditos. Everything is wrapped up in that revolver at his side. Disarm him or wound him, and he's helpless. Any other questions? Don't forget, there's a bonus if you make Bill draw first.
Hold it, baby Bonanza. It's me, Cunty McLean. Cunty McLean, your arch nemesis and worst nightmare. Are you fucking serious? I'm Cunty McLean. I've said it 3 times already. Jesus, any more questions? It was the name my mother gave to me. My father came from a long line of McLeans. That's about it. What else am I supposed to do when I'm talking? Not fondle myself? Really? My cousin, Donald, came out to the wasteland to make a name for himself. He got caught up in some fiend group. You murdered him. He had the smile of a child, and the mouth of a smaller child. It would have been obvious if you hadn't blown his fucking head off. I didn't walk tens of miles just to not kill you. There is...
Hello.
What are you doing around here, fancy pants? Oh, you come to admire my mustache, huh? You know, I reckon you want... You done fucked up, partner.
Damn, it's a fight.
What is it, partner? Sometimes nicknames are just random or nonsensical, but his was dead on. Squirrely indeed. You played this one smart, and I appreciate it. It was excellent work. What you got? Nobody's quite sure why he got in bed with Marco, but he did. That gets him on our list. He might not be surrounded by a gang. Nobody runs with Marco unless they're a bad customer. Doolin wasn't just a robber. He killed at least one sheriff in cold blood. Besides, Brookshire is adamant about this one.
They say those robots on the strip are running around with different faces.
Easy there, killer. I know you're probably out for blood. I wonder why you really came here. I've heard stories about Randall. They say you've killed a lot of bad men. Got a real instinct for it. Maybe you really are as good as they say. Let me tell you something, though. It won't matter if you go up against Marco. I'm not trying to scare you, because it's not about skill. I know Marco. I know him well. I believe he came here to turn away from what he was. Start over. When he found out about Sergio, I saw him change again. Like somebody had flipped over a card.
that old demon inside was awake again. You might be fast, you might be tough, but Marco will do anything to settle that score. I grew up on the frontier. My parents were NCR settlers. As a young man, I just wanted to feel alive, not like dying a little every day. I ran away at 15, joined the gang. I learned the trade soon enough, took to robbing caravans, but it was never about the money. I enjoyed the chase, leading men into the fray, staying ahead of the law. Only the Rangers ever got close to me, though. Last few years, it got harder, though. We'd been boxed in by NCR, Legion, and Hades, and they all wanted me dead. When Marco showed up, he offered to get me set up in Frost Hill in exchange for a share of my earnings and unwavering loyalty. See, Frost Hill is a haven for old bandits like me. It's where we come to escape and settle down, free from the government and savages out there. Ironically, now that I'm getting older, I find myself missing that old farm more and more. I had hoped to ease out of this racket, maybe start selling tobacco. I soon realized that Marco had other plans for me and for this town. I don't know exactly what. NCR always wanted my head for the money I stole. They didn't care much about that sheriff and the 2 deputies I shot, just the money. So you gonna gun me down like the rest and saw off my finger? Vicious business. What happens next? I'd like for you to walk away. Leave this behind while you're still in one piece. But let's face it, I'm a dead man outside Frost Hill. I know you aren't going anywhere. What, so I can start over and be an honest citizen? I might just be a half-assed bandit, but even I have some sense of justice. I never expected to leave here alive. For what it's worth, you have my thanks.
What you got? What? That makes my ass want to dip snuff. Goddamn ridiculous. I trust you to carry out these bounties and have a little faith in my strategy. If you start picking and choosing, we won't get nowhere. Oh, and we'll be broke. You can forget about any payment, goddammit. Just get the fuck out of here and don't come back until you stop being all pussyfied. What is it, partner? For years, Marco has kept a badass super mutant in his entourage. Supposedly goes by the name of Porter. My source says that Porter is little better than a slave to Marco, but he's completely devoted. No telling what makes that thing tick. Anyway, he's supposed to be hidden away in that old pre-war base inside a nearby mountain. On top of the mutant, Marco keeps supplies in there. You might be thinking, this is my lucky day, but think again. Once the mutant is gone, it'll be one less reason for Frosthill to support Marco. He's an absolute master. It's any other.
Howdy.
Commencing attack on hostile target.
The Hotshot. The NCR took back Nelson. Maybe they can win this war after all.
Make them look. Please. Don't make them look at their faces. Make it stop, boss. Please, boss. You're not boss. Please make him stop. Give me the justice and it will stop the hurting. You cannot command me. Stop! I feel it again, the pain. A long time ago, Porter was a good guy. Guarded town far away from here. Boss made Porter his pet, his tool. Used Porter to do mean things. Porter wants to leave. Porter heard whispers of this place.
Law-abiding citizens, please leave the area. Your cooperation is requested.
Hey there. What is it, partner? Did you pick up religion or something since we last worked? Porter is a pure killing machine. Here, I'll give you half pay, out of my own pocket, no less. Consider it my charitable act for... What is it, partner? You'll be getting 2 for the price of 1 with this next bounty. The targets are Ingram and Saunders. 2 badass. They're the honchos of a big, nasty raider crew. Word is that you're gonna have a long trip ahead of... Hold on. Did you hear that?